I Can't Think Straight is more than just a love story. It's a journey of self-discovery, breaking cultural barriers, and fighting for true love. In this film, we follow Tala, a confident Jordanian woman, and Leyla, a reserved British Indian writer, as they navigate family expectations, personal fears, and undeniable chemistry. But can their love survive in a world that refuses to accept them? Let's dive into the story of I Can't Think Straight and explore why it remains one of the most beloved lesbian romance films. This film is about two women from different backgrounds who find themselves drawn to each other in unexpected ways. We start by meeting Tala, a spirited woman from Jordan. She's busy getting ready for her engagement party to Hani. Her family is bustling around, making sure everything is perfect. Tala's mum, Rima, is especially keen on every detail, from Tala's dress fitting just right to the cake looking splendid. Tala's dad, Omar, hopes this will be the final engagement party, hinting that Tala has been engaged before but never made it to the altar. As the party kicks off, guests chat about Tala's previous engagements, wondering if she'll go through with it this time. Tala's Uncle Ramsey jokes about his fear of flying, stemming from a dream he had back in 1967. He also teases Tala, suggesting that while love and looks might fade, money lasts forever. Tala laughs it off, showing her close bond with her family. Meanwhile, in London, we meet Leyla, a young woman of Indian descent. She's working late at her father's insurance office, trying to print something when her dad, Sam, invites her to sit with him. Sam hopes Leyla will take over the family business someday, but she feels more comfortable with administrative tasks than sales. Sam shares his sales tactics, emphasizing the certainty of death to sell life insurance. Leyla, however, isn't keen on this approach. Leyla mentions she has a date with Ali that evening. Sam approves, calling Ali a good boy, and asks if they're going to the mosque first, since it's Friday. Leyla admits she believes in their religion, but doesn't like attending when everyone else does. Sam insists that attending with others shows she's a good Muslim. Leyla agrees, but reminds her dad she's not a child anymore. Later, Ali and Leyla head to a friend's place. Ali talks about his friend Tala, describing her as someone with a unique spirit. He mentions that Tala has recently started a company in London, which is uncommon for an Arab woman from her background. Leyla feels a bit nervous about meeting new people, but Ali assures her that Tala is great and she'll love her. At Tala's place, her housekeeper welcomes Ali and Leyla. Tala's mum, Rima, starts asking Leyla questions about her background, including her religion and her father's occupation. Tala intervenes, reminding her mum that Leyla is dating Ali, not her. Tala and Leyla exchange greetings, with Tala playfully teasing about British Reserve and Jordanian customs. During their conversation, Leyla learns that Tala has been engaged 4 times before. Rima comments that Tala is too picky, mentioning she liked one of Tala's previous fiancés, Namir. Tala counters, revealing that Namir had issues, but her mum downplays them. Rima then asks Leyla about her own relationship, hinting at marriage plans with Ali. The discussion shifts to wedding plans, with Rima expressing hope that Tala's upcoming wedding will be in a church, highlighting their Christian background. Leyla, surprised, apologizes for assuming they were Muslim. Tala challenges Leyla, asking why she's Muslim. Rima interjects, stating it's because Leyla was born into it. Tala argues that religion is assigned at birth, but it's not inherent. The conversation takes a turn to politics, with Rima expressing strong opinions about historical events. Tala and her mum have differing views, leading to a heated exchange. Sensing the tension, Ali decides it's time to take Leyla to dinner, inviting Tala to join. Tala declines, mentioning her parents are returning to Jordan the next day. Before leaving, Tala and Leyla share a moment, agreeing to meet again and discuss lighter topics. Back at Leyla's home, her mum, Maya, is puzzled about Leyla's plans with Ali, especially since it's lunchtime. Leyla jokes about time zones, highlighting the generational and cultural differences between them. Until now, the story sets the stage for the intertwining lives of Tala and Leyla. Despite their different backgrounds and the expectations placed upon them, there's an undeniable connection forming. As they navigate family pressures, cultural norms, and personal beliefs, their journey promises to be both challenging and enlightening. Leyla could still feel the lingering warmth of Tala's presence as they left the tennis courts. There was something effortless about the way Tala carried herself, confident yet approachable, always quick with a playful remark, but also keenly perceptive. It was disarming, the way she had leaned in, taken Leyla's hand, and examined the scrape from their match. As the day unfolded, the encounter replayed in Leyla's mind. She wasn't sure what it was, Tala's natural ease or her own inexplicable nervousness, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was shifting. The playful exchanges, the glances held just a little too long, the way Tala's voice softened when she spoke directly to her. It was subtle, yet impossible to ignore. Later that evening, as Leyla sat at the dinner table with her family, she could barely focus on the conversation. Her mother was rambling about cultural heritage, bemoaning Leyla's lack of interest in tradition. Every now and then, her sister Yasmin would throw in a sarcastic comment, further provoking their mother. The exchange was nothing new, just another evening where Leyla felt caught between expectation and personal desire. The conversation took a predictable turn. Marriage. Her mother casually mentioned Namima, subtly nudging Leyla towards considering Ali as a serious prospect. Leyla nodded absent-mindedly, responding when necessary, but thinking about something, or someone, else entirely. The polo match tomorrow was the perfect excuse to escape, to spend another day in Tala's company without having to explain why she was so drawn to her. The following afternoon, as they arrived at the polo grounds, Tala was already there, waiting with her usual air of effortless elegance. She greeted Leyla with a teasing remark, something light-hearted but laced with meaning. Leyla felt her stomach flip slightly, though she masked it well. As the match progressed, Leyla found herself paying more attention to Tala than to the game itself. She watched the way she moved, the way she interacted with others so naturally, as if she belonged everywhere. It was captivating, and Leyla felt herself being pulled into that magnetic field without resistance. By the time the game ended, Tala was ready to leave, but she suggested stopping by her place first. There was something casual about the invitation, yet Leyla felt an unspoken anticipation settle between them. They arrived at Tala's home, a space that mirrored her personality, warm, stylish, and filled with character. Tala led Leyla to a quiet sitting area, pouring them both a drink. The conversation meandered through various topics, but eventually it circled back to something more personal. Leyla spoke about her job, about how uninspiring it felt. She admitted, perhaps for the first time aloud, that her real passion was writing. Tala listened intently, her eyes shining with genuine interest. There was something about Tala's encouragement, her belief in Leyla's talent, that made it all feel more tangible, more possible. When she asked to read something Leyla had written, it felt oddly intimate, as if she were offering a piece of herself. As the evening stretched on, Leyla found herself opening up in ways she hadn't before. She asked about Tala's past relationships, the stories behind the failed engagements. Tala answered with a mix of humour and honesty, revealing the pressures of family expectations, the moments of doubt, and the realization that simply ticking all the right boxes didn't guarantee happiness. When the conversation turned to Ali, Tala's question was direct. Did it click? Leyla hesitated. She liked Ali. He was kind, reliable, everything she had been taught to look for. But did it click? The way she imagined it should? The way her pulse quickened when Tala was near? The way she found herself analyzing every shared moment? No, it wasn't the same. But admitting that out loud felt dangerous. The atmosphere shifted slightly, the air thick with unspoken words. Tala, always observant, didn't press. Instead, she offered an easy smile and suggested they head outside. The rain had started, a light drizzle at first, then growing stronger. They walked together, their steps slow and unhurried, as if neither wanted the night to end. The cool drops clung to their skin, but neither of them cared. Leyla had never felt more aware of her own thoughts, her own desires. As they stood there, soaked from the rain, she realized that this uncertainty, this electricity, was what she had been missing all along. Back home, Yasmin immediately picked up on her distracted state. With a knowing look, she probed, not unkindly, about Leyla's weekend plans. Her sister was observant, more than Leyla gave her credit for, and her questions weren't as casual as they seemed. But Leyla wasn't ready to answer. Not yet. Instead, she brushed off Yasmin's curiosity and retreated to her room. She sat on her bed, fingers tracing patterns on the notebook in her lap. The rain still pattered against the window, a rhythmic reminder of the evening's events. Tala's words echoed in her mind, about expectations, about what truly inspires someone, about being at ease with oneself. Leyla exhaled deeply. The answers weren't clear yet, but the questions had never felt more important. Leyla finds herself wrapped in the warmth of newfound companionship, but beneath the surface, uncertainty lingers. Tala's world is one of grandeur and expectations, while Leyla, still discovering her own voice, feels the quiet pull of something more profound than friendship. As they stroll through the picturesque surroundings, conversations turn towards literature. Leyla expresses her admiration for Tala's writing, though hesitantly. She admits she's still learning, but she genuinely loves it. Lamia, ever the keen observer, remarks that one day Tala's work will be in bookstores. Tala brushes off the compliment, but Leyla, with her gentle sincerity, asks if an edition with pictures could be published. It's a small moment, yet it carries a weight neither of them fully acknowledge. The air is charged with unspoken words. Tala suggests they walk a bit more, but Leyla hesitates. Lamia is ready to move on, but Leyla, in a moment of surrender to impulse, agrees. However, reality calls. Karim, ever watchful, will notice her absence. Tala urges her to simply tell him she's busy, but the question lingers in the air. Will Leyla stay? Tala waits for her answer. Leyla declines, the weight of her obligations pressing down. Yet the tension is undeniable, an undercurrent pulling them closer. They talk about their relationships. Tala, aware of the complexity of what's brewing between them, insists she has avoided relationships where control dictates the dynamic. Leyla, intrigued, asks if Tala's fiancé is different. Tala describes Hani as an open-minded Arab man, kind and sophisticated, one who even makes a great martini. He sounds perfect, at least in theory. But when Leyla asks why she's trying so hard to find something wrong with him, Tala hesitates. The answer is too complicated. Later, as they take in the beauty of their surroundings, Leyla expresses gratitude. The world, seen through Tala's eyes, is overwhelming and new. Tala, moved by the sincerity of the moment, thanks her in return. For what? Leyla asks. For allowing her to see things anew. The atmosphere shifts as music plays. Leyla jokes about her lack of rhythm, and Tala, ever confident, coaxes her into movement. Their proximity ignites something undeniable. The conversation turns deeper. Tala admits to a past love, a girl from her university days. It was a whirlwind romance that made her feel alive. But in the end, she ended it, convincing herself it was for the best. Now, as she stands before Leyla, those buried emotions surface. Leyla listens, absorbing every word. Tala struggles with the reality of their connection. She insists that life isn't lived this way, that where she comes from, love like theirs is impossible. Leyla challenges her. Tala may live in the West now, but certain traditions remain unshakable. However, the real conflict is not about culture, it's about morality. Tala is engaged. No matter where they are in the world, cheating is unacceptable. The line has been drawn, and yet neither can fully turn away. Their exploration continues, this time through ancient ruins. Leyla, ever the romantic, marvels at the scent of antiquity. Lamia, unimpressed, complains about the lack of shopping opportunities. Their conversation takes a turn as Tala's mother, Rima, enters the scene through a phone call. She is quick to note Tala's prolonged stay in London, making connections between past engagements that never led to weddings. Leyla is mentioned, an Indian friend, but soon suspicion arises about her background. Is she Jewish? The question hangs in the air, unanswered but loaded with meaning. Back home, Tala is met with an unexpected surprise. Hani, ever the devoted fiancé, has come to see her. His presence is met with warmth from her family, but for Tala, it's another reminder of the choices she must make. Rima beams with pride, eager to showcase wedding invitations. The discussion turns to Hani's work, an intersection between Jordan and Israel. The politics of the region seep into dinner conversation, tensions flaring as perspectives clash. The evening, once celebratory, becomes a battleground of ideologies. Tala, caught between worlds, listens in silence. But the real storm brews elsewhere. Leyla, overwhelmed by the evening's events, retreats. Tala follows, finding her in a moment of vulnerability. Their emotions spill over. Leyla lays bare her feelings, expressing a desire for something lasting. She wants love that remains even after years, a love that still ignites excitement at the sound of a key turning in the door. And that love, she says with conviction, is Tala. But Tala hesitates. She cannot bring herself to hurt Hani. Leyla asks the one question that matters. Does she love him? Tala doesn't answer directly. She speaks of his qualities, of the things she loves about him, but she never says she is in love. The realization is heartbreaking. Leyla knows that if Tala chooses to stay, she will be choosing a life of pretense. And so she makes her decision. She cannot wait for Tala to decide. She says goodbye. Tala watches her leave, and the weight of her choices crashes down on her. Life continues. Ramsey, an old family friend, arrives, bringing his usual charm. Conversations about marriage surface once more, this time through the lens of Tala's sister, Lamia. The expectations placed upon them are suffocating. Sammy, Tala's brother, returns home as well. His life in New York has shaped him differently, and he finds himself at odds with the traditional expectations of their family. During a family dinner, toasts are raised to Tala and Hani's impending wedding. But the celebration is interrupted by a grim news report. Another suicide bombing. A discussion ensues, dividing the table. The weight of history, of politics, and of personal experiences collide. The conversation is charged, emotions raw. Tala, caught in the middle, remains silent. As the evening winds down, Tala finds herself alone with her thoughts. The walls of expectation close in, and she is left with the one question she has been avoiding. Is this the life she truly wants? Meanwhile, Leyla navigates her own world, changed by what she has experienced. She has glimpsed something real, something worth fighting for. But whether Tala will choose it remains uncertain. Tensions rise as the weight of expectations and personal desires clash in the lives of Tala and Leyla. At a dinner gathering, conversations turn heated as Kareem and Hani discuss politics, reflecting on the ever-present struggles in the Middle East. Tala, feeling out of place and overwhelmed, excuses herself from the conversation. Her mother, Rima, reminds her about an upcoming fitting with the seamstress, emphasizing the importance of appearances. Meanwhile, back at Layla's house, she returns home to an eager Yasmin, who playfully scolds her for missing their favorite Bollywood drama. But Layla has something more pressing on her mind. She's made a decision, one that's been brewing inside her for a long time. Hesitantly, she confesses to her mother, "Mum, I'm not happy with Ali." Her mother, assuming it's just cold feet, suggests another suitor, but Layla finally gathers her courage and blurts out the truth. "I'm gay." Her mother's reaction is swift and harsh, a mixture of disbelief and anger. "Then you will burn in hell," she cries out. Sam, Layla's father, arrives just in time to witness the chaos. He intervenes, offering a glimmer of support, though the damage is done. Layla knows she must find her own path. Her father subtly suggests she look for a place of her own, acknowledging that, while he may not fully understand, he wants her to be safe. Tala, on the other hand, is grappling with her own turmoil. As another lavish pre-wedding dinner is prepared, her cousin Zina makes sarcastic remarks about the extravagant nature of it all. The conversation takes a turn when Zina, ever the blunt observer, questions the family's views on sexuality. "Do you think being gay is just a phase?" she asks. This provokes tension, with Kareem dismissing the idea, believing it's something people can move past. But Tala knows better. She's living proof that some feelings don't just disappear. Later, Tala faces her father, Omar. She admits that she can't go through with the wedding. Omar, though stern, is more understanding than she expected. "Daughters need a hand now and then," he tells her. While he doesn't explicitly condone her decision, he doesn't fight it either. Instead, he redirects the lavish wedding food to a refugee camp, a silent but powerful gesture of acceptance. Tala knows she's made the right choice, but she also knows she's about to step into uncertainty. In the aftermath, Layla moves forward with her life. She's looking for a new apartment with the support of Yasmin and even Ali, who takes the revelation of her sexuality surprisingly well. "She told me she's gay," he admits to Tala, "and she even told her parents. You've got to admire her guts." His words strike a chord with Tala. Layla had been brave, something Tala hadn't been able to be before. That realization lingers in her mind. Tala tries to reach out to Layla, but when she calls, Layla refuses to speak to her. Hurt and determined, Tala doesn't give up. The next time she sees Layla, it's at an academic lecture on Jordan. The moment their eyes meet, it's clear there's unfinished business between them. Tala approaches, attempting to make conversation, but Layla is cold. She introduces her friend, Jennifer, making it clear that she's moved on. Tala, for the first time, experiences what it's like to be on the outside looking in. She had been the one who walked away, but now she's the one being shut out. Layla leaves with Jennifer, leaving Tala standing there, lost in her own regret. Determined to make things right, Tala takes the leap she had been too afraid to take before. She confides in her father about her true feelings, about why she couldn't go through with the wedding. In a quiet, heartfelt moment, Omar listens. His words, though not overtly approving, give her the courage she needs. Meanwhile, Yasmin and Ali discuss the obvious tension between Layla and Tala. Yasmin, ever the romantic, is determined to reunite them. "They're in love with each other," she declares. Ali, skeptical at first, starts to see it too. The pieces are moving into place, but the final decision rests with Tala. Will she fight for the woman she loves, or will she let Layla slip away for good? The stage is set for the final resolution of their love story. Leyla arrives at a restaurant for a meeting with Ali, only to find that he won't be attending. Instead, she is met with Tala, realizing they have been set up. The moment is charged with unspoken emotions, a mixture of excitement and apprehension hanging between them. Tala looks radiant, and Leyla can't help but admire her. Their initial exchange is light-hearted, but the underlying tension is undeniable. This meeting is significant. It is their first real conversation since everything fell apart. As they sit together, the conversation turns personal. Leyla reveals that she ended her engagement on the morning of the wedding, a decision that took immense strength. Tala listens, visibly moved, knowing exactly what that must have felt like. When Leyla admits that leaving Tala to return to Jordan was the hardest thing she has ever done, the air between them shifts. This moment is raw and honest, bringing back all the emotions they had both tried to suppress. Tala, in turn, acknowledges that despite everything, she still loves Leyla. Leyla has changed since the last time they saw each other. She has grown into herself, and Tala notices this newfound confidence. She proudly announces that her book is being published, an achievement that Tala genuinely celebrates. Yet beneath this celebration, there are still unresolved questions. Tala, hesitant and unsure, struggles with the expectations placed upon her by her family and culture. Leyla, now bolder, challenges Tala's fears, reminding her that change will never come if people don't have the courage to be truthful about who they are. Tala's struggle is evident. She wants Leyla, but the weight of her upbringing is a constant battle. She has told her parents that she ended her engagement for Hani's sake, but she hasn't admitted the real reason. Leyla, seeing through Tala's defenses, pushes her to accept herself fully. Their love is undeniable, but can Tala be brave enough to embrace it? Later, Tala returns home, gathering the strength to finally confront her parents. The weight of tradition and expectation looms over her, but she is determined. She walks into the room, ready to tell them the truth, but is met with an emotional outburst. Her mother, furious and ashamed, reacts with tears and accusations, making it clear that Tala's actions have already caused enough disgrace. The confrontation is painful, but Tala stands her ground. For the first time, she refuses to let her fear dictate her choices. Meanwhile, Leyla is finding success in her own right. Her book launch is a moment of triumph, and she receives warm applause for her work. She has channeled her emotions and experiences into her writing, using her words to tell a story that is deeply personal. At the signing, she is approached by Tala. It is an unexpected but welcomed surprise. Tala's presence alone says more than words ever could. Tala asks Leyla to sign a copy of her book, requesting a personal inscription. When Leyla sees what Tala wants her to write, she is taken aback. Tala has finally come out to her parents. This is the moment Leyla had been waiting for. The moment Tala finally chose her, fully and without fear. The shift in Tala is evident. She is no longer the woman who once hid behind duty and expectations. She is finally ready to live her truth, openly and unapologetically. As they talk, she tells Leyla about her plans. She is moving into her own place, a fresh start for the life she wants to build. Leyla teases her, pointing out that one bedroom won't be enough. Tala is momentarily confused until Leyla explains why. She has told her parents that they will have children someday. The future is no longer uncertain. For the first time, Tala and Leyla are looking ahead together, without secrecy or hesitation. Their love story has been a journey of struggle, self-discovery, and courage. But in the end, love wins. They have fought for their happiness, and now they are ready to embrace it fully. As the credits roll, their journey stands as a testament to the power of love and authenticity. Against all odds, they have chosen each other, and that choice makes all the difference. In the end, I Can't Think Straight is more than just a movie. It's a message. It tells women, especially those struggling with their identity, that they deserve love, happiness, and a future where they don't have to hide. It's a reminder that being yourself is the bravest thing you can do, and in the end, love is always worth fighting for. And that's it for our recap today. Let us know if you liked it down in our comments. Please like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more sapphic content. See you again here.